Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's Richard Hart and Treyvon James. Treyvon James is famous or infamous. I actually don't know that much about Treyvon, except I've seen that clip over and over again on YouTube that says, if you didn't lose your money, you kind of lost your money, that one. That clip's like endless.
Okay, let me start there. Let me clear that up. Basically, I think I did a video on this on Twitter, and I was basically saying you didn't lose your money because you still have the coins. You know, you still have the coins, and the coins still have a value. I still have my BTC. I unlocked my wallet the other day to stake them.
I seen you said that they were rare collector's items.
Yeah, they are, because I own them, and I can sign the signature and say that I own them and everything. They're worth at least $100 a piece, man.
So I gotta say, I don't know as much about Bitconnect as I probably should for all of the other people that were like involved in it. I heard about you as like one of like 2 or 3 people that people make videos on about like where are they now and like, you know, what happened with Bitconnect and all that, because apparently you was one of their big promoters, right?
I mean, yeah.
All right. So why don't you tell everyone, so for everyone that's kind of like me and doesn't really know the story of what happened, we've just kind of seen the memes. Why don't you fill us in on what all that was about?
Okay, so we got to give some context. All right, so discovered Bitcoin, I would say the first time I think I saw it was probably around 2012 when I saw it in some Facebook groups, but I didn't pay any mind because I thought it was a scam. And then I didn't find it again until the end of 2015. And started doing research, fell down the rabbit hole like everyone does. Once you poke at Bitcoin, you're gonna go down the rabbit hole. And started doing research, and then I started doing video because I have been doing videos. I've been doing videos since 2006, since way before crypto. I've been doing videos, right?
What were you doing the videos on then?
I did comedy videos, and I did a little bit of marketing. Not always, but I did Twitter marketing. I fell for, I wouldn't say I fell for, MCA is a legit company. I just couldn't do it.
What's MCA?
Motor Club of America. They
Was that like a multi-level AAA club or something?
Yeah, it's like multi-level marketing.
All right.
But it's a legit company, still going. Failed at that miserably. $40 gone down the drain.
Damn, $40. That's 2 sizzlers right there.
Right. So yeah, man, I came from, when I first got into Bitcoin, man, my goal with Bitcoin was to make, long term was to make $30 a day with crypto.
Right.
So I started doing videos, and then I think the first thing that I discovered that could earn me crypto, let's back up. I started gambling. The first time I ever had a great experience with crypto was gambling. I gambled with what's his name? Adam Gutierrez. I think that's how you say his name.
I don't know.
He's like a really chubby guy. He gambles on crypto sites. He did this method, and it worked. And then I tried it again, and it didn't work the second time. Right?
Was it what's the one where you keep doubling your bet? I can't remember.
Yeah, martingale.
Yeah,
it was some type of martingale. Yeah. But I doubled. At this time Bitcoin was like 300, so I had I might have turned $50 worth of Bitcoin into 100. So I had maybe, I didn't have anything, man.
This is not a lot of money.
Yeah, it's not. I didn't have anything, man. Yeah. I was starting with small amounts.
All right, get to the drama. People want to hear the blood. Because you got a time limit. I'll talk for 8 fucking hours, but you said you don't want to be an hour.
I'm not in a rush, man.
Oh, all right. All right, we'll take your time then.
It's a good story, man. Trust me.
Because I'll talk forever.
Good. But then, so where was I?
You were talking about the $40 or $50 you got from doing martingale from Adam Gutierrez.
Right. Flipped that, and then started gambling, and then found Genesis mining, and then got really good with
Was that cloud mining?
Yeah, Genesis mining, and then did really well with that. And while Genesis
Are they still in business?
Yeah.
All right.
while Genesis mining was, I'm still getting my payouts from Genesis mining.
All right.
Actually, I get a little piece of mining from there. So Genesis mining is taking off, and as I'm getting ready to fly to Iceland because Genesis mining is doing so well, Bitconnect starts coming out.
So what, Genesis is in Iceland?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're mining in Iceland. So maybe a few months or a few weeks before then, Bitconnect comes out. I started with $100, put $100 in it, and started talking about it, getting referrals, and it just kept going. And it's kept going and going and going and going and going and going and going. Genesis mining. Then by this time, it's what 2017, well into 2017. I remember August. Around that time is when we were starting to go into Miami. So it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then around maybe like October or November, not long after Carlos said, Bitconnect.
I love that. I'll tell you right now, I'll pay him to do a fun video. I'll tell you right now.
His Bitconnect coins. He should put, if he still has them, he could probably auction those on eBay for a nice amount.
Yeah. I think that dude's hilarious. I ain't never seen a funnier video. Like
Carlos was, I mean, way before then, he's a really cool dude, man. And I wish I could take on more of what he's getting because he doesn't deserve it. You know what I'm saying? He was just having a good time. He's have a good time guy, party, dance. He just was doing his Carlos, so he doesn't deserve that. Oh,
man. Well, it's so funny because I think like a week later after he said even my wife thinks this is a scam. Oh, that's a scam job. And then Bitconnect went to zero or damn close.
The thing about that is, the thing about the whole, I still have yet to call Bitconnect a scam because it wasn't a scam, because it worked. It was working, and then I think it was Texas, and then North Carolina. They filed cease and desist orders against Bitconnect. And that's what stopped it. It was going great. See, everybody thinks it was a scam, but it kept going. It was going and going. It was going fine. There were no problems until Texas and North Carolina were like, hey, people are making too much money. People are winning too much. Who are these black guys making all this money?
Oh, they're called rappers. What? Oh,
these guys look like rappers. They're walking around Miami. They're making all this money just doing nothing out of nowhere. Trevon James, this guy was broke. He was trying to make $30 a day.
Bro, I'm not sure. Listen, I like that story. It's this nice sounding story. But the facts of that story would perfectly also match the facts if there was laws being violated and then the law enforcement people did what they were supposed to do. So, I mean, really, there's laws against stuff.
I don't want to get into the law stuff. Okay. I don't want to get into the law stuff.
I'm just saying, a lot of people call stuff scams. It's not. I agree with that.
Let's talk about that word.
Sure.
Let's talk about the word scam. This is something that I want to discuss. I've been wanting to discuss this or someone to discuss this for a long time.
Sure.
In your opinion,
I think I'm a damn expert on it, so I'm happy to talk about it.
Yeah. They're calling you not scam king, spam king.
I mean, it's real simple. The things that fuck people up are scams, which I believe involve deceit and fraud. So you're told one story, and in reality something different, and you lose all your money. That's what I believe a scam is. It involves intent. Because a lot of people lose all their money through not scams, just through normal bad business or hard business. Restaurants are the most likely to fail business you could ever do. And hundreds of them start up around your local area every year, and they come into existence and they go out of existence, and all the money gets lost. And lots of other businesses exist and then go out of business because business is hard. And that doesn't mean it's a scam, because their intention wasn't fraudulent. They died of natural causes. So I believe scams require deceit and lies. Yes. Now we've got other classes of things which can be scams or could not be scams. So for instance, one would be multi-level marketing. And the law has figured out what the difference is between a legal MLM and an illegal MLM. And it's based on the ratio of retail sales to reseller sales. And if you have actual retail sales at a certain number, I think it's 60 or 70% retail sales. You could look up the Amway ruling. It's called the Amway law. that says how much retail sales you have to have as a percentage in order to support so many retailer sales. And then you have legal MLM. So that nutraceutical one or whatever, Nutra something or another, that's real popular. And then
I heard of that one.
I don't know. Isn't Carlos, the fake Carlos sells it? What is it? Herbalife.
Herbalife. Yeah. Heard of
and
that.
then, so Herbalife is one. And then there's like those people that sell, steak knives. That's another one. Amway does it for cosmetics. And then Tupperware, I think, used to do it for like Tupperware containers for food. And so there's a history of multi-level marketing. And it is legal if you do it the legal way. Mm-hmm. Now, what people will call a form of multi-level marketing, which is not legal, is called a pyramid scheme. And the only difference between a pyramid scheme and an MLM is the percentage of sales to the retail, as opposed, retail consumption, as opposed to just reselling reseller packages. And then no one actually ever uses this stuff. They just all resell.
A product, basically a product that people want,
Yeah.
A product that people want and you can, get a commission off of it.
Right.
But
now, neither of
that's
those is a
MPA
Ponzi.
is. And what?
Neither of those is a Ponzi.
Oh, no.
The Ponzi's different. So we got scams, which involve fraud. We got MLM and pyramid schemes, which is legal or not based on retail consumption as a percentage of the total sales. And there's another law in addition to the Amway law, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. But it's, I believe, similar. And then the third one is Ponzi scheme. Now, what is a Ponzi scheme? It's a form of the fraudulent. They tell you that something is happening that generates revenue. They tell you that if you invest, you're going to get a share of that revenue. And then in reality, they don't have any revenue or very little. And they pay huge rewards out of the principal that new guys give them to the younger guys. Or that to the new guys give it to the old guys. And then they keep doing that until they can't do it anymore because the onboarding slows down. And then the Ponzi starts to run out of money. And then they usually exit scam. And they just turn everything off and keep whatever they took. And then you have a bunch of people that had paper gains. And then one day in an instant, they don't have any gains anymore. It's all gone. There's no liquidity. There's nowhere they can sell. They have a worthless token. That's similar to what happened to you. The causes were different in your case, going by your story, which is that the cease and desist letters came out.
Yeah.
I did hear about that. Yeah, I did hear about that.
That's a definite fact. Bitconnect was going great. It was going too great. And I think that's basically the problem. But I don't want to get into
so
I don't know law.
I'm sure other people have already done that. I mean, it's a couple-year-old story. I'm sure someone's done a bang-up job on it. So in my opinion, there's three major classes of problems and scams that people kind of run into. One is Ponzi schemes, where you're promised a lot of money and it revolves around some fraud that you didn't know it was fraud. It's a lie. And then it collapses on itself and it can't pay what it owes anymore. So that's how Ponzi's tend to collapse.
Right.
Multi-level marketing schemes and pyramid schemes, they're crappy if there's no retail consumption. If everyone's just selling a reseller package, that's the fraud there. You've got other really, really, really common frauds, such as advanced fee fraud. Someone says they're going to give you $50 if you give them $25. You give them the 25, you never get the 50 back.
Yeah, that's basically what's going on in crypto on Twitter.
Maybe.
Well, from what I'm seeing is, hey, send me. I'm Trevon.
Oh yeah, the Twitter scams. Yeah.
And I'll send you more ETH.
All over YouTube.
That's one of the main
Twitter.
reasons.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest reasons why people are calling me a scammer, because there are so many pages that are pretending to be me, and people come to me all the time and say, "Hey man, where's my ETH at?" And I'm like,
I had one message me today.
Wasn't me.
I had a fake Treyvon message me today. I shit you not. I had a fake Treyvon message me today, but I already blocked and deleted them before I could forward it to you for laughs, because I get so much of that shit. They get fake Richards all day. I changed my name on Telegram to Richard Hart. Do not ever send me BTC, ETH, or money.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I did.
And you have to do it. You have to do it.
It's on my Twitter bio. Yeah, any influence out there, you gotta do that too. If you're getting the moment you're getting
I get messaged by fake everybody all day long. This week I got fake you. I got a couple fake YouTubers, got a couple fake exchange owners, a couple fake, just all fake.
Crazy.
All fake. And so I found ways, which I won't tell you about, or I'll tell you in private. I won't tell you publicly because I don't want them to get wise to it. But I found ways to tell. I ain't never been scammed yet. So cross my fingers. Ain't no one ever. I mean, I've had fake documents sent with fake stamps, everything. I'm talking, they work for it, man. They really work for it. They want your money. They want it bad, and they'll make fake everything.
So getting back to the word scam. So one thing that I want people to stop doing also is calling everything crypto scam. Now, like you said, I didn't ever give my definition of a scam. My definition of a scam is exactly like yours. It comes down to intent. If you're going out there with the mentality to prey on people, that is a scam. Now, if your cryptocurrency project comes out and it fails and you were trying to make it successful and it fails and then the coin goes to zero, I don't necessarily think that was a scam, but it might not be. It's no way to prove
Could be
that
bad
it was
business.
a scam.
It could just be bad business. It could be bad timing.
It could have been a scam, or it could have been
Amazon dropped 95%. Was it a scam? Nope.
Right.
Webvan
dropped 98%.
The issue in crypto is it doesn't come back.
I got 6,000 coins, man. I try to pump my back.
How much was that worth? Back in the day.
I bought some. I didn't get but like 300. Maybe.
What was the peak on Bitconnect just per token?
It's like 300 and something.
Ooh, all right.
I got maybe good money. I got maybe 300 or maybe 100 or something like that. Then it crashed, and then people were like, don't sell. I'm like, all right, well, shit. You tell me not to sell, then it must be something that I don't know.
Here's the hard part.
Buy a dip.
Here's the hard part. In crypto, Bitcoin is considered the blue chip, which for people that are younger, they don't know what the hell blue chip is. And to tell you the truth, I'm not really sure what the origin of the word blue chip is, but in old school technical like trading terms, it means the good stock that doesn't just die for no particular good reason. It's a good, safe place to put your money. So they've got,
the pink ones are the penny stocks.
Right. So like IBM would be a blue chip way back in the day, right? Like American Airlines would be a blue chip, like big companies with big liquidity, and just you wouldn't expect them to be scams. So Bitcoin is the blue chip of crypto. It drops 85% every 3 years. That's a big drop, 85%. Big drop. And then
85% every year?
Every 3 years. Every 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah. It'll do from 2015 to 2017, it dropped 40%, maybe 7 or 8 times. Yeah. So 40%, I'm not even talking about. It does that on a daily. 40% ain't nothing to talk about in crypto.
It pulled back 40% like 3 times in the bull market.
Dude, we went to 14K on that PlusToken Ponzi. When the founders got arrested, was the top, and then we dropped 55% from there. And now we're
talking about this again. 14K or last 14K?
The last 14K we touched, which was maybe 5-6 months ago. And nobody knows what it's from. I know what it's from. There was a Chinese Ponzi called PlusToken that made so much money that they got to keep 1% of all Bitcoin after the scam shut down. They hold 1% of all Bitcoin. It's $1 billion. They've got $1 billion of Bitcoin. It was a scam. Do you know how much scam money they filtered in through like the volume that they did? They got like they got at least $4 billion of retail fiat to buy crypto, and then cycled it through to the early guys to get to keep $1 billion. They kept $1 billion, and they did that on EOS. They did it on ETH, and they did it on Bitcoin, and they kept the biggest amount in Bitcoin. That's the most that they did. They bought the bottom, they made the bottom, and they made the top. But nobody knows that. But they talk about trading all day long. Bunch of traders drawing lines on charts. Don't even heard of it. You're like, if you haven't heard of it, you should immediately stop trading, because you don't know when the next one's coming. When that Ponzi was running, none of the lines mattered. No resistance line was observed at all. It didn't care. It just went straight up through everything. And when the founders got arrested, it just went straight down. It's a little bounces, but I mean, they're still dumping. So like, if you don't know when the next Chinese Ponzi's coming up, you should not trade. If you do know when the next Ponzi's coming up, you still shouldn't trade. I mean, my position is, how many people lose money trading? 99%. In a longer time frame, probably 100%. Right? Even good traders get bad beat and they get knocked out. Oh, but money management. I'm going to use money management to save me. Nope, you're just going to lose slower. you're just going to die a slower death. And I'm good. Like, I got a price calls channel. If you chart the calls, they're good. But I still tell you, don't do it. There's better things to do with your time.
Yeah. So you bring up EOS. EOS is the reason that I got interested in HEX.
Interesting.
I was upset that I didn't get to participate in the
Right.
EOS. Not, what was it? What were they calling it? They weren't calling it
I don't
ICO.
remember what they called it, but they had a 350-day launch phase where you would send Ethereum to a contract and you would get EOS ERC20 tokens out.
Yeah, and if you dollar cost averaged on that shit, you won.
Yes, you
So
did.
that's what got me interested in HEX.
We
And
have an almost identical launch system.
Yeah, so that's what really got me into HEX.
They raised more money than any other company in the history of crypto. They raised $4.2 billion. That's more than Satoshi plus Brian Armstrong plus Arthur Hayes plus everybody. They made more than everybody. So why not do the best thing?
What you gonna do with that ETH, man?
See, Trey likes to make these jokes. He kids around a lot on the stream. I watched like one of his videos. He's like, if HEX goes wrong, I knew how to blame. I'm going to blame Richard because I gave Richard my money.
Yeah, I'm doing about 0.1 ETH I do 0.1 ETH. I do 3.1 ETHs. I give you 0.3 ETH once a day every 4 days. I go 3 days giving you 0.1 ETH.
So I have
like 20 million. I have like 20 million you see, I have 20. I think I got 19 million HEX.
Good.
And I probably bought like a million of that. You know, the other thing that got me interested in HEX, the referral program. It's an awesome referral program, man. Like 10% extra. That's
30.
You're a marketer, man.
I designed it very well. So I want to clarify a few things. One, the reason that HEX is appreciating, it's up like 60% in the last 2 weeks, I believe, is because it's designed well. And I think the reason that Trey promotes HEX is because it's designed well. Because I never spoke to you before. I never said, hey, check HEX out. You just noticed it, I think, and then started playing with it.
I noticed it, and then I saw Artie talking about how the 350 days work and how it was like the EOS, and that's what got me.
Right.
And then the referral program, I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah. So the reason I tell people that is because it's very important that people know that they are not buying a security. So they're not giving money to some party that is going to work for them, and through that work, things go better. That doesn't exist in HEX. So HEX, go ahead.
So let me ask you this then. So what was the point? I don't know. I hope this question don't fuck up the conversation. But what was the point of taking ETH if you're not going to do anything with it?
Well, you've got to decide how to divvy up a new coin, right? So if you've got a world of people that you need to give coins to on-ramp a new economy, then you have to decide how you're going to split those coins up amongst people. It seems like if you want the price to appreciate, that you should reward heavier those people that are already rich and more likely to invest heavier in your new thing than you are to give everyone a flat rate. So if I offered you, if I offered a random guy off the street $100 to try out something new, he'd probably say yes. If I offered Warren Buffett $100 to try out something new, he'd probably like ninja kick me and knock me out of his office. Right. So like you can't use the same sales tactics across all demographics of humans, and so you have to have some way to have people stratify themselves. And the way that we do that in HEX is if you free claim with HEX via Bitcoin, the more Bitcoin you have, the more HEX you get, up until a point. As soon as you become a whale, you get murdered. So if you have 1,000 coins, you get cut in half. If you have 10,000 coins, you get cut by 3/4. You just have 25% left. And it scales linearly from 1K to 10K. And over 10K, it just stays as at 75% cut. So we made logistical decisions as to which participants we wanted to get free coins. You know, most exchanges can't get free coins because they use multisig. They can't even claim. So we chose our stratification. Now, you talked about the referral program. Originally, HEX didn't have an ETH onboarding option, which meant that you, as a referrer, would only have been able to refer people that had Bitcoin back at the snapshot, which right now I think was like 44 days ago or something. Let's call it 50 days.
Yeah, I think it was 50.
Might be now. I work so hard that I can't keep track of time. So let's call it 50. So if you imagine, 6 months from now, meeting someone and saying, hey, you should claim your free HEX. You should get on board. And they go, okay, well, how do I do it? Well, did you have Bitcoin 6 months ago? No. I can't help you, sorry. And then you couldn't refer them. That it's cancer. Like you can't, now with the ETH onboarding, anyone in the world that has access to ETH you can profit from referring for the next year after launch phase. So it's amazingly better. And how many, like, what's the ratio of humans that have Bitcoin back at the snapshot? Less than 1%. Less than 1% of all mankind. Now, what's the percentage of humans that have the ability to get some ETH? 100%. Everybody can get some ETH if they want to. And so 100x is the number of people you can onboard as a referrer, and it opens the time window up like massively. And so now you've got whole people starting businesses around HEX because it was designed well. So we've got the best stats in all of crypto by far. We've got hex.vision, hexstat.com, hex info, hex data. You can make your own analyses off of every single piece of data, volume, timing, which guy's the leaderboard, which guy got the best deals, who's been entering every day, who's got the most referrals, are they free claim referrals or are they ETH entry referrals? Everything is there. In Bitcoin, you don't have anything. There's no stats. You have on-chain volume, and you have price, and you have hash rate, and that's it.
Yeah, that's why I had to plug Tewkenaire into HEX, man, because y'all got the devs.
It's true.
Devs and
it's true.
Stats pages and the community,
and they're building it all. I don't have anything to do with it. They're building on their own.
Like, I started out Tewkenaire basically on Tron, and then I was like, man, I don't want to, put it all on one. I don't want to make it dependent on Tron. And being that it's on Tron, which is, Solidity like ETH, I can easily, bring in other chains. Like now I'm Tron, ETH, HEX. I don't want to say the ones that are next because it's a lot of cloners, but
right. So tell people what. So I'll intro them a little bit. People have been building on top of HEX as a platform. So HEX, when it was designed, the contract was left open for other people to call and access. We could have disabled that. We left it open. Why? Because we want people to build on top of it. Right. And so first, some people built a Ponzi. Then some people built some lotto games. Then some people built some other games. And then you came along and you did something that I thought was real innovative. And you actually, you built a contract which seems like FOMO 3D a little bit, except you made some changes to it. So you removed the referral program and you made some other changes, which I'd love to find out about because I just discovered this today. And go ahead.
Yeah, let me start with basically the foundation. So it started with Tron. So we had the proof of weak hands. It's proof of weak hands, right? So proof of weak hands was from late 2017, like one of the first dApps on ETH. And we pretty much, I guess you would call it a fork to translate it the best. And basically we forked that and put it on Tron. And then once it was on Tron, we damn, man. Hold on a sec.
What's up?
Thought I heard my son crying. So
okay.
It's called Crazy and Stable. So stable is basically, so it's on crazy, it's crazy and stable, right? And they all feed each other. It's hard to explain verbally, I have a tutorial on the homepage, I really just came here to talk about Tewkenaire.
Sure.
So you got the crazy and you have stable. Crazy version has nonstop rewards, airdrops, partner dApps. Partner dApps feed crazy, stable. You'll be able to use it. You'll be able to mine with it, and crazy you won't be able to mine with it. Yeah, I'm sure.
That's the worst damn advertisement I ever heard, man.
It is, man.
That's terrible.
This is why I don't do co-live.
Jesus,
things, man.
All right, let me give it a shot for you, bro. What? Okay, so
I can't do it, man.
Treyvon built a very similar proof of weak hands.
You're the worst.
I'll do it. Treyvon built a very similar to proof of weak hands contract on top of HEX that uses HEX as its substrate and input. And what's unique and innovative, and the only reason I'm having this chat right now, because I advise people not to do games.
It's amazing. It's so, listen, this is what it is. I know I just fucked up big right now, but it's amazing. It's so amazing. And I can't put it into, I'm so shocked or amazed that I built this shit. I'm having a Kanye moment, really.
Nice, dude.
And I'm looking at this shit like, I'm like, hold on a second. I fucking did this?
Yeah.
Like, so
congrats.
I want Richard to explain this.
Sure, I'll do it.
He is my words. Go ahead.
All right. You don't want to say that. I makes me want to say some troll shit right now.
Go ahead, man.
All right.
I'm going to hear it anyway, but
it's true.
I'm amazed at how beautiful this is.
So Trey, the innovative and interesting thing that Trey built into this contract is that for most of these games where, to get in, you get hit with a fee. And then you hope more people get in after you and they get hit with that fee too. And if enough people get in after you, you end up cash positive. And so usually it's a guessing game as to where you're getting in relationship to the lifespan of the thing. And then he's artificially or mechanically elongating the lifespan of the thing by piggybacking on top of hex staking. So when you get hex and you send it to his deal, it hits you for the 10%. And now you're going to stake 10% less. And you can stake. So when you stake through his contract, it calls the real HEX contract and then stakes the coins. And then you can end stake. And when you end stake through his contract, it calls the real contract and end stakes them. And so now you've got an elongation of interaction through the HEX staking, which his contract is calling. And so whereas these things may have had shorter lifetimes, I think hex staking might give it a longer lifetime because people don't want to end their stakes early and get hit with penalties, So I think that's innovative as hell.
What I was trying to get at was the fact that it feeds multiple contracts. I am the first person to ever do this, to connect multiple smart contracts cross-chain, right? Hex swaps to ETH. And then it swaps to TRX, and then it buys into the crazy smart contract on top of Tron.
It's pretty interesting.
I stuttered on that because I try to start at the beginning, but you can't start. It's block like the way the blockchain is set up. I can't start it at the beginning. I have to start it with the newest smart contract, which is Hex.
Yeah.
And I have to go backwards. I try to start from the beginning like a tutorial, but I can't do that. I'm not even fucking sharing my screen. Right?
One day.
That's what fucked me. I'm like, oh shit.
Trey's got a funny YouTube channel. I like his videos, the ones I've seen about Hex. I just don't like the part where he says, yo, if it goes wrong, go kill Richard. That's not that great.
I didn't say go kill Richard.
I know, I'm just fooling with you.
I say I can blame Richard.
Yeah.
Which I can. Because
you could, but just remember when you mint your Hex, when you send Ethereum to the contract and you mint your Hex on your own, you must have no expectations of work from anyone else. You really must not, because it's a decentralized system.
But I do want to know what you're going to do with that ETH, though.
You don't know who has it. You're not supposed to know who has it, so that you can't have expectations of them, so that you can't think that you're buying into a security. So the thing I promise you is to do nothing. All I do is sit around all day. As far as whatever that Hex gets, whatever that ETH gets used for, nothing that will ever benefit you, ever.
Basically, it says send ETH, don't expect anything.
Yes.
Send ETH, transform ETH, get your Hex because that's what you wanted.
Correct. It's just like, do you remember the difference? So people traded and sacrificed their Bitcoin for Ethereum. They wanted the Ethereum more than they wanted the Bitcoin, and they did pretty well. They got in at 30 cents and it went up to $1,500. They did better than Bitcoin did. Fact. Up to the top in early 2018 for ETH, late 2017 for Bitcoin. Then people decided, you know what? So they traded their Bitcoin for ETH, and then people decided, you know what? I'd rather have EOS than ETH, and then they traded their ETH for EOS. And then they did well. They made money. They pumped a 40x in the bear market from late 2017 to early 2018. 40x.
Right.
So now we have a situation where people have ETH, they acquire ETH, and they want HEX instead. Now the difference between the ETH crowd sale and the EOS crowd sale and the HEX minting transformation is that those were non-finished products where you were giving a centralized party money with the expectation and hope that they would build something. And HEX is the opposite of that because it's totally complete and uneditable and done, and you have no expectations of anyone doing anything for you. All those cool sites that you love, I had nothing to do with them. All the blockchain contract is done. There's nothing I can change. It's uneditable.
Yeah, so that was definitely, I mean, EOS was probably definitely a security thing because it was.
Yeah, and they agreed it was, and they settled with the SEC for $24 million on a $4.2 billion raise. So if you give people promises and you're using your essential entrepreneurial effort and managerial effort and taking people's money and then handing them out rewards, you're a security. I mean, I would be surprised if you're not. HEX has none of those things. I can't hand you your money. I can't mint you HEX. I can't do any of those things. So
since you're saying there's no promises, so since you're not promising anything, is there anything that, you know, the community has promised to build?
I'm unaware of any promises. I know a lot of people have built things. I know a lot of people are likely to continue building things because it is designed well. When you design something well and you influence human psychology a certain way, as long as human psychology keeps working the way it has for 100 years, it's likely to continue. You love the referral program because it was designed well. People now are building out all these cool stats websites because we chose the right ecosystem to build on. The tools that they needed to get their hooks in and interact are there already. So it's not essential effort of an entrepreneur or a management team. It's just a well-designed, completely finished product.
So what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I can tell you today we listed on an exchange in Korea.
The Korea, yeah, I saw that.
And that's nice because it's important to reach markets where you can't, there's a language barrier. So if you can get a foothold in a new market that has a language barrier, it gives you pricing power and competition protection because it's a walled garden, it has a moat around it. It's hard for other competitors to try and get access to that area. So if you can get your foothold into one of these walled gardens, which Korea is, they have capital controls. You can't just trade Korean won for anything else at the bank. They don't allow you. You have to ask for permission. So that's why we had a kimchi premium back in the 2017 bull run where you could sell your Bitcoin for, I think, upwards of $6,000 higher in Korea than in the United States. That's a lot of extra premium. Yeah. Maybe it was 2,000, but I think it was up at 6,000 on Bitcoin.
I remember the Nigerian premium at like 13,000. It was like Bitcoin was probably, I don't know, Bitcoin was like half of that or something, and it was crazy. Like
huge premiums.
13,
yeah, because you can't.
That's how you know.
You can't arbitrage it because you can't get money in there to buy it, and if you did get money, like if you get your coins in there to try and sell the price down, you'll end up with the local currency, and then you can't get it back out to redo the arbitrage.
Yeah.
So that's the reason you can't just instantly arb down the price. You got to use it's a whole fancy arbitrage business job. So it's important that everyone listening know you should have no expectations of the work of anyone else. If you like HEX and you want to participate, mint your own coins, have fun, do the best you can.
Tewkenaire though.
Well, you could check out Trey's thing. I think he chose a terrible, horrible name for his business because no one could ever.
Tewkenaire.com?
Anyone listening, how do you think you spell Tewkenaire? Because I guarantee you, however you think you spell it, you're getting it wrong. Because he chose an impossible to spell name.
No, what I chose? I chose a word that isn't created yet.
Yeah, but you have to spell it every time you say it now, unfortunately.
Tewkenaire?
Yes, spell it.
I spell it like, I say it like Tewkenaire and Tewkenaire.
I'm going to spell it for everybody. You spell it, man. Come on.
Oh.
You got to spell it or no one's going to be able to get to it.
Tewkenaire.
Fuck. It's like you even misspelled the air. Man, is no one ever going to be able to spell that ever?
Man, people can read, man.
Toucan is an animal. It's a bird, and it's not spelled like that.
You sound like somebody who pushed down on Bitcoin when it was like 10 cents.
No, I'm just saying, change the name to some shit people could spell. Believe me, I have this problem with Strape. I have to spell Strape every time I say it, so I don't use it anymore.
You don't understand the history behind Toucan, though. That's why for you it's like it's a horrible name. Tewkenaire comes from. I'm gonna tell you where the word toucan even come from.
All right.
Toucan comes from Artie. I got that. I got toucan from Artie.
All right.
because he would do videos and he'd be like my Bitconnect tokens, but he has a Jamaican accent, so he'd be like, Tewkens. You know what I'm saying? So I would start saying Tewkens, right?
That's
and
funny,
everybody
man.
don't know who Artie is. That's Craig Grant.
All right.
So he would say Tewkens, like that's how he would pronounce it when he's saying it, and I would mess with him on my videos and say Tewkens.
That's
And
funny.
then what happened is a person who was helping me with the code for what is now Tewkenaire, he was like, man, I think you should call it Tewkenaire, and that's Golden Yogi. Like it's a huge, man, the smart contract space is so vibrant.
Right.
Is the right way. Like it's a lot of people doing stuff that don't
Bitcoin promised us programmable money. You can't program shit.
Yeah.
You cannot program a damn thing.
Well, someone said something about, I did a live stream about 2 days ago, or 2 nights ago. Someone said something about, I know about rootstock, but I think you still can't do anything like.
It's a fake copy of ETH with a 20% founder reward.
Yeah. So
now what? You got like shitty ETH.
Oh, it's shitty ETH. I got you.
It's just bad ETH.
Man.
We got real ETH, which is awesome and has all the devs. And like,
so since ETH, I find it very hard to, the only reason I'm even doing ETH is because HEX is on ETH. Like, ETH is shit, man. I'm sorry.
I'm telling you, game's gonna change. Look, I used to be a Bitcoin maximalist. The game changed. ETH is fucking awesome now, and I'm telling you, it's gonna get more awesome.
So have you used the Tron blockchain at all?
No, because I got no reason to use it.
Use the Tron blockchain and you'll be like, Jesus, ETH is shit. You'll say that.
Dog, it's just, it's faster for less decentralization. I could use this. I could run my shit on Amazon. Amazon sells a blockchain product. I could just use that. If I'm willing to trade decentralization for speed, I'll just use Amazon's blockchain instead of somebody else's. But I need the decentralization. I mean, look, man, if I was okay with not having decentralization, you would have been able to transform more than ETH in the contract. You would have been able to transform every token on the contract because an Oracle would have just set a ratio price.
But you don't think that a hint of centralization is necessary on some of these?
No,
you don't think
it's different.
Little bit of centralization helps? To me, it helps push the
centralization of ownership, not centralization of the network. They're different. Centralized owners helps you do magical things. Like, someone can afford to run a big marketing program. Someone could afford to list on a giant exchange. So if you have some whales in your currency, then some people could afford to do things a bunch of small guys can't. They can overcome the tragedy of the commons. I agree with that, but it has nothing to do with the decentralization of the network. The decentralization of the network is what gives you censorship resistance, which these currencies need.
And you don't think Tron the network is decentralized?
I don't think it is.
All those nodes are just the same group of people.
I'm not saying it's the same. It's just less decentralized. Look, any new thing, by definition, is less decentralized because it's new and fewer people know about new things, and it takes time for more people to get in and for things to spread
Tron's
out.
price just probably needs to go down so more people can get nodes and stuff. I think that's what really happens because, like, I'm seeing that happen on IOST. Like right now on IOST, I can get a node for. You get a node on IOST for dirt cheap, but on Tron, it's not dirt cheap, but cheap compared to getting one set up on Tron.
Here's all I care about. Are my transactions going to get rolled back? Nope. Okay. Are they ever going to get rolled back? No. Okay. Why do I believe that on ETH? Because the number one inside guy that invented Solidity and was there at the start of Ethereum is Gavin Wood. And Gavin Wood lost some dozens or hundreds of millions of dollars of people's money when he wrote bad code. And he would like the Ethereum people to bail him out. And he's this corest inside guy you could possibly get. And they didn't bail him out. So if they're not bailing out Gavin Wood, they're not bailing out anybody. So that's the most honest and real proof you could have about will there be a rollback or not in Ethereum. That's a real test, Now, other theoretical tests, Bitcoin hasn't really even had a theoretical test. So, for instance, when the $50 million got stolen from Binance, they thought for a minute or two about leaking their private keys and letting the miners fight over rolling the transaction back and letting the miners steal the money instead of the criminal that stole the money. But they didn't do it. But if they did do it, and to tell you the truth, I would have liked to have seen them do it. because then you really know what you're dealing with. That's a real test. And you're going to say, okay, well, we're going to roll back the chain or not. And in that case, it's interesting because if they rolled back the chain, it still would only be selective, and they still probably would only be rolling back those transactions. So it may not have this overarching cancerous effect that people fear. We're all going to hell. Maybe not. Maybe you just selectively screw over the hacker, and then everyone's pretty cool with that.
I have respect for ETH. It's not that I'm like shitting on it like it's trash. It's
well, TRX is just a fork of ETH.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I can't hate on ETH. Like, I don't want to come off wrong. It's not that I'm hating on it and trying to say it's trash.
I'm saying the game's going to change, man. With these ZK rollups, the ETH that you know today.
Since 2016.
Nah, this is new, man. This is new. The shit they was talking about 2016 was sharding, which they've basically given up on because of ZK rollups, and Casper, which is like they're still doing it, but because it's already done. You can't give up on it. It's already done. It's already working. It's already in production. People are already using it. There's people getting 50x to 100x TPS right now.
I mean, I have ETH. I have a bag. So I mean, I just don't like using it, man. I just would much rather use smart contracts and dApps that are on Tron because it's Wave. It's seamless. I know you haven't tried IOST then. IOST is like
if you want fast and less censorship resistant, you could just use Amazon's blockchain. You just can. I mean, look, everything, we got a bunch of empty ass blockchains. You can go as many TPS as you want on all these empty blockchains. You could do zero conf on any blockchain you want and not even worry about actually verifying stuff and go as fast as you want. We don't need speed. We do not need speed. We need users. Don't need speed. The shit's fast enough. I mean, how fast do you think it has to be for HEX where you lock up your coins for 10 years and come back 10 years later?
It can't be, but I mean, it can't be 3-4 minutes either, though.
No, but 10 seconds is fast enough. It's 10-second blocks. Just raise your damn fees and you'll get a 10-second block, man.
Fees?
Yeah, if you pay 2 cents, 3 cents, you're going to get a 10-second block.
Yeah, well, is it going to always be 2
maybe
cents?
Maybe it's 10 cents. Well, no. If
ETH goes up to 50K, is it still going to be 10 cents?
No, but ZK Rollup solves that. So ZK Rollups gives you a 50-100x to make up for a 50-100x in price. I mean, it's a rough assumption, but like, you can get all the scale you want right now, man.
Is ETH on a dip?
I think so. It dropped down to 81.
Yeah, it should be.
It dropped down to 81, and then it pumped up to like 400, and then it dropped down to, I don't know, like 110. And that's where we're at now. We're at like 160, 180.
Breakout right now.
Yeah, we're up 2x from the bottom. Bitcoin. If it's the bottom, which I think it is, but who knows, right?
Oh, yeah, it's looking good, man.
So tell people, I think the most important part here is, I think a lot of people listening to me love HEX and use it because, I mean, you got in your new project there, Tewkenaire HEXtew, you got something like 250 million HEX in the first hour, I think?
Let's see. In the first hour, yeah, it was about 250. And most of it's staked now, man. I'm not logged into MetaMask. Or am I? Oh yeah, I am. Yes, 250 now.
So what percentage of it staked? Because last time I looked, I think it was 250. It was 210. The last time I remember looking, it was 210 that had been sent. There was 210 left over that hadn't been staked yet, and there was 80 that was staked through it.
Yeah, there's 151. There's 151 million in the contract,
right?
And 100 million of that is staked.
That is real interesting. It'd be fun to have your dev
million in the contract and 100 million staked. That's a better way to say it.
It would be fun to have your dev look at how long the stakes were.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah. Trust me, man. Like stats page is probably gonna be very soon.
Yeah.
Because that's the first thing I said. I was like, man, because a guy just staked 44 million for a year. He said he staked it for a year. I said, man, who staked 44 million? I wish I could see how long it was for. Yeah. But he said he came in there and said
that's like $5,000, I think.
Yeah. So
yeah.
And there's another one a few seconds ago for 19 million. Yeah, everybody's staking. I'm still trying to think how long I want to do mine for. I haven't done mine yet.
Right.
But,
so what's interesting to me is I tell everyone to avoid playing games. And I'm in this situation now where you build a censorship resistant currency and there's a portion of the population that wants to play games.
Right.
So now do you act like their mother and try and censor them and not let them do it? Or do you, tell them about it and then let them know, hey, you probably still shouldn't do it, but if you're gonna, here it is.
Here's if I'm going to play HEXtew, and I'm going to go in and stake, if I'm going to go in and stake, I'm going to stake for longer than 3 months, because I'm going to take, already have that 20% hit in my mind.
Right.
After about 3 months, like you, no promises.
Right.
After about 3 months, it seems like I would have enough rewards from the vault and the interest that will make up for my loss, plus the extra on top of the interest, or whatever you call it, from the staking.
Right.
The extra from the vault should make me a lot more over a longer period of time. If I stay it for like a week, it might not be a good idea.
Right.
You know? But the longer I stake, it's the same thing. The longer you stake, the better, because you're gonna get the reward pool.
Right. It's real interesting. I mean, it
is a game though. It's a gamble. But it's a gamble that can pay off, or a gamble that you're going to be waiting a long time to ROI from. Like, it's a gamble, like all of it. Because
you're betting like, how do you know how many people are going to come after you?
Yeah, like the thing that's messing up the game right now is it doesn't have stats for the end stake. So right now, most of it's, a lot of, like almost half of it's staked. So people are kind of worried because they don't know how long it's going to be until those people unstake and they get the reward.
Well, you can know it when you're dev,
right,
like,
that's what I'm saying. Once you get the stats and stuff up, you'll be more confident. Because I'm not even confident in the stake right now, because I don't know if these people are staking for 10 years, 5 years, that they'll never unstake. And
if your audience is similar to my audience, they're probably staking long as hell.
Yeah,
because
the first person that told me that he staked, he said a year.
Yeah,
so he's staking for a while. Yeah.
No, I don't know. See, it's interesting. It makes me wonder, how large is your audience separate from mine? Like, how much is our crossover? Because if you've got a separate audience than me, then it could be the case that new people are onboarding into your interesting new invention, and they're generating hex demand that didn't previously exist because they wanted to play the game that you invented.
Yeah.
And I don't like calling it a game, but we don't have a better word for it yet.
Yeah, we don't. It's not you can't call it. First off, Ponzi is a person.
Right.
it's a person. Yep. First off. But we don't have a word for even that. But we don't even have a word for Ponzi, because Ponzi is a person.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's why they always call it a Ponzi scheme, is because it was his scheme. The
dude. Of course. But it's,
I don't think Ponzi is an accurate representation of what you've built, because
I don't either.
You show them the code, it's publicly viewable, and I looked at it. I mean, I wouldn't have done this call with you had you not published the code.
Right.
And some devs in the dev chat looked it over and told me what was up. And I'm like, all right. Now, look, I haven't personally audited it. I only heard about it maybe 12 hours ago. And I don't know that you've got any audits, but it looks like the intent. It looks like your intent is obvious. Like it's a thing.
2 audits.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll publish them when you can. So because I'm a firm believer.
I would call it. I wouldn't call them now. Crazy had a full audit.
Right.
The first one had a full audit. But
I think if you got the revenue to do it, you should pay for the best audit you can get, because if it goes wrong,
I mean, if it goes wrong,
to go right.
The code is open source. Anybody could have found what was wrong.
Yeah. I'm just saying, man. I pay, like, Hex has got a lot of audits, and I'm a firm believer in them, because for some people, this money is real important to them. So you want to make sure whatever you build.
If the money is that important to you, and you're for one, if you're calling it money,
right,
you shouldn't be playing in HEXtew. You should be playing, and trying to win. Like, game is a good word for it, but a game is more interactive. It sounds more interactive, like you're doing something all the time.
All right.
This is more of like a waiting game. I would call it, if I was going to call it a game, I would call it a waiting game. You might be waiting longer. Now this is the gamble is, you might be waiting longer in Hex staking, or you might be waiting longer in HEXtew.
It sounds like
how much you're gonna.
I think you're overestimating how long they might have to wait, or I don't understand how it works well. Because if it's a 20% upfront mark-to-market accounting cost based on a 10% entry and a 10% exit, then really half of the revenue that people are hoping to recoup their investments with comes from the entries. And so you're really only half of the...
too.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that it's 50-50. So if you got twice as many entries, it would be the same as having half as many people enter and exit.
And you're not counting the dApps that will plug into it later.
Right. Yeah.
That like we already have one. They're gonna give us well, we first agreed on 40% of their treasury, but I guess he misunderstood. So we're gonna go back and do it again. But I mean, if we're getting 40% of their treasury and they're doing crazy numbers because the game is so great, like it only takes one game, just like with Crazy. We had a game called Tron Lounge, and they were buying in, 14,000 TRX straight while it was hot, and it's dying down to about 2,000 TRX now. But all it takes is one huge game to get really, really popping, and it's all that hex or TRX is going into these contracts, and
right.
I guess you could say propping it up and keeping it flowing. And then you have people's stakes ending. They sell out, they end the stake. 10% of that profit goes into HEXtew. So it's a lot of areas where Hex is going to be coming in. So it's a gamble. You don't know. Maybe the games might suck. Maybe no games will come. No promises. Maybe it'll be lit and then it'll kick off the bull market and your Hex is raining, from everywhere. So
I'm a firm believer in Hex. I like it very, very much. And I have to say
that
I do love that people are building on top of it. I've got a list of things that I'd like to see. So, one of them is, look, guys, the code's there. Build on it. We got a dev chat. If you're dev, come and join us. We got like 100 guys in there building stuff.
I think you might have scared off some of the
game builders.
Yeah. With that,
I was hard on them. Yeah, I was hard on them. So I banned on site everybody that mentioned this other game that got built because, in general, I don't like Ponzi's or gaming, and then you built something that was innovative, and I'm like, well, damn. Yeah. Well, I can't be everyone's mom, right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
you gotta let people do what they want to do, man.
Within reason. If you're honest, about what you built and it's open code, and the intention and the advertising looks like what the code is doing, then people know what they're getting into, man. It's like if you go to Vegas and we roll a roulette wheel, does anyone yell scam? No, because everyone knows what the deal is. If you yell scam at the blackjack table, no, because everyone knows what the deal is. If people are adults and of sound mind, then they should be able to endure some amount of margin loss for gaming pleasure.
The guy that I was just talking about with the 44 million, it's funny you say that because he staked the 44 million for a year and then came in the Telegram. It said something, and then he said, "What was that too long?" Like he didn't know what he was getting into. Like it blew me. I was like, man, I just was like, wow, man. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you staked for a year, and he's like, "What, is that too long? Is that too short?" I'm like, no, it's good. You staked for a long time.
Oh man, I just
like, wow.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that's all in Doge, but I know it's worth $250 million. And every day I'm always like, how? Every day I'm just like, I don't get it.
I think it's early OG, tried and true. I think that has something.
I hope to look at Hex one day and be like, damn, how is that even possible? That's amazing. Because like we're getting there, man.
LBC, what you should need to post on LBC, man. Library. Get your videos on there.
All right.
Library?
Not yet. I might have someone copy it all over just for fun.
You can just you can plug your YouTube and it'll sync all your
YouTube
do
it for it.
Start
all right.
Yeah, do that, man.
I haven't been focused on redundancy and like convenience lately. I've been focused on other stuff, Right, not YouTube working on Hex, just sitting around.
YouTube stopped liking you and your channel gone. You're gonna wish you backed it up on Library.
I don't give a fuck about YouTube, to tell the truth, man. I don't edit these videos. I don't make a funny face for the thumbnail. I don't even make a thumbnail. I don't put text in the thumbnail. I do the bare minimum amount of effort. I don't advertise it. I don't do collabs with people.
I wish I wouldn't have started, though.
Why?
I mean, I wish I wouldn't have started with the thumbnails and the clickbait.
Because you feel obligated to keep doing it?
Yeah, because once you start doing it and your views go up, and then you be like, you know what? I don't want to do thumbnails anymore.
You stuck doing
views. Your views just crash, and then you just fuck up the algorithm and it's just a falling. So I wish I wouldn't have started, but I got to now.
I think you make better Hex videos than I do. I see you going through and talking about referrals and whatnot. I never talked
Because
about
I've been
referrals.
doing these documentation videos since 2016. It's like
that's the beauty of a well-designed system, man. You're doing it, and now you built something that other people could do. You know, like play along. Like building stuff is beautiful. Building stuff,
it is,
like
man.
even Bill Gates. Bill Gates, a badass dude, smart dude, a lot of money. Even he couldn't do it on his own. He had to have other people similar to him help, and that's why he created the Giving Pledge. Because one badass Bill Gates ain't nothing compared to 10 of his peers combined. And so anytime you can scale and work and bring horizontally other people to help you and build a team, that's the only path to real wealth, is through scale and
give your stuff
numbers.
Yeah. Feel like I got more purpose, with something, a project. I'm doing something that, I don't see. I mean, I think we're the only influencers that are doing, our own project. I can't think of any other influencers are there any other? Can't think of any.
I can't think of any.
Is Ivan on Tech doing anything? Why isn't he doing
not.
something?
I told everyone this years ago. I'll tell y'all again. You got programmable money. Is everything perfect yet? Nope. If everything's not perfect and you got programmable money, start programming. Build on top of HEX.
Then you can just
build something beautiful.
Yeah, and you can just keep changing it. Like at first this was on Tron, and then it's like, well, you don't want to be, like I said, you don't want to be centralized to one chain. So if you just start and then go wherever if Bitcoin gets smart contracts, then port it over to Bitcoin. You laugh when I say that.
I mean, look, Bitcoin guys did one cool thing. They did a pull request for an anonymity inclusion, where they were going to include what's called Taproot, which makes all the inputs and outputs anonymous. So it's anonymity into Bitcoin. They made a pull request. So that might turn into like a completed BIP and a thing people could signal for, and a soft fork they might actually get rolled in. That would be nice to have anonymity in Bitcoin. I think HEX would benefit if Bitcoin had anonymity, because a lot of those old whales would be happier to empty their wallets into HEX if they knew that it was easier to be secure about doing it. It's harder to do atomic swaps and, Monero or these other techniques to like anonymize your original stack to get a new stack. So I think anonymity in Bitcoin would help HEX by helping people get out of it and making it more spendable. And here's the funny thing: it might actually be bad for the Bitcoin price, because part of the reason Bitcoin price is high is because no one can use it for anything. Retailers that used to accept it just stopped. There's less retailers that accept it now than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
There's less ATMs that you can use than 2 years ago, and the ATMs that exist have, they want your ID. So
using Bitcoin Cash now.
So I'm just saying, like, if we could get anonymity in Bitcoin, I think it would be a more useful currency. I think there would be more volume on it, and I think the price would probably take a short-term hit, because people would be like, yeah, now I've been rich for a long time. Okay, let's actually spend some of this, and let's diversify and do some other things. So I'd like to see anonymity in Bitcoin. I have always, and I think anyone that enjoys privacy should hope that happens. I think, so they also put a little bit of a throughput increase with more efficient signatures using Schnorr signatures. And they also did some more efficient signing stuff with Schnorr script. And then that's it. That's the 3 bips that will come out of this pull request that Peter Woolley did from Blockstream for Bitcoin Core. I hope that happens. But I mean, while they're working on anonymity, we've already got anonymity in ETH if you want it through Tornado.cash. We've already got scalability if you want it through Zk rollups. We've already got world's first blockchain CD, HEX, and a very innovative game on top of it, which is similar to Proof of Weekends or POW3D, that utilizes HEX, and you can be staked while you're in it, which I thought I've never seen anything like that. It's very, very interesting. Yeah. So go tell them your website. Go to Tewkenaire.
Tewkenaire. It's on my shirt. On my sweatshirt. Spell like that.
Is it a .com? Okay.
Where do you think Bitcoin is going to, man? You think the halving is going to set us, or you think we're taking one off?
I think that game is, as long as Chinese Ponzi's and Asian Ponzi's is the actual game, and I'm so late to find out about them, that the old things like halvening and, look, we dumped for CME, we dumped for backed, but it looks like we pumped for CME options, and you're like, maybe they're just not actually related, right? Maybe there's something else going on. I think that reducing the sell pressure from $500,000 an hour, which is what it is now, to $250,000 an hour, which it will be in a few months, I think that can only be positive for price. I think we did drop 85%, and that historically is the bottom for the last few times that we did it. And we did our 14K dump or 14K up. Ponzi leaders got arrested, 55% drop, and the prices looked pretty nice. I mean,
it's looking good now, man.
Yeah, I think it looks very nice right now. But look, Bitcoin went up over the last 14 days or 7 days before this local dump, like when it was going up. It was up 14%, and ETH was up 28%, and HEX was up 60% over the last week or two period. Well, if it's the bull run, and if lower liquidity things, I think ETH should flip Bitcoin. I do. I think it's that much better. Yeah, I really do. However, it might not happen because the world is not a fair place, and the better technology does not always win. And just because I know it's better technology doesn't mean everyone else does. And so you can't.
The tech is solid. I mean, it's called Solidity. It's solid.
Well, Solidity sucks, but Solidity does
Really?
truly suck. It is a horrible programming language, but it does work. It works, and it's battle hardened, and it's tested because everyone knows how it sucks. So it sucks, and we know how, and then we can work around the how and make something that works really well. That people don't realize this. 5 of the top 10 or top 12 cryptocurrencies in the world launched on or primarily use ETH. ETH itself, USDT, which does more trading volume than any other cryptocurrency in the world, primarily in the ERC20. BNB launched as an ERC20, then made their own mainnet. TRX launched as an ERC20, then made their own mainnet. EOS launched as an ERC20, then made their own mainnet. 5 of the top 10 or 12, and it's it depends on that bottom one.
What is happening on Tron right now, though, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, so that's happening on Tron right now. It's like a bunch of TRC20s that are getting listed on CoinMarketCap, and Banker is one of them. Wink, the gambling platform, Win. That's happening on Tron. So it's the same stuff, but I'm with you on that flipping.
If a faster currency, 10-second blocks versus 10-minute blocks, never rolled back the chain because they had to, rolled back the chain because they wanted to get rid of some hacker money. Bitcoin had to roll it back once for real back in 2010 with an inflation bug, and then they had to fork out or patch an inflation bug that a Bitcoin Cash developer found about a year ago. ETH has never had any of those problems. ETH has never had any inflation bug problems. Bitcoin's had 2. Inflation bug means you can print as many free coins as you want. It's the worst bug you can get next to rewriting history. It's terrible. So it's also got better mining ecosystem on GPU instead of ASICs, which are more centralized. It's also more efficient. The amount of transaction volume that it does per dollar versus the energy burnt is it transacts more money with less energy burn. It's also got a bug bounty program, so it's more likely to stay secure. Bitcoin has no bug bounty program. It's also got more developers working on it. It's also got smarter developers working on it now. With the ZK Snark stuff, Ethereum is running that game, and the Bitcoin guys didn't have enough manpower to do it. They knew it was awesome. Greg Maxwell knew how good it was and talked about it several years ago, but didn't have the manpower to build it out. The Ethereum guys did, and that's why it's done on Ethereum. So if you want a faster network that does higher throughput, is more environmentally friendly, has a lottery ticket that it'll get rid of mining completely if Casper works, already has 50 to 100 TPS throughput with ZK rollups that you can start using the code now. It's all there. What else do you want? And it's also got anonymity through Tornado Cash. So when I gave you that list of dreams for HEX, one of them is that you can pay your fees in HEX instead of Bitcoin using what's called meta transactions. 2 is that you would have in-client optional anonymity, where you just send some HEX to a contract and let it sit there for a while, and then other people pile on top, and then you can withdraw whenever you want, and no one can tell it was you that withdrew. And then nobody knows which one of those people, the people, in that group, that anonymity set, was the person that withdrew. Someone could add that very easily. You just fork their Tornado.cash code and then assign a bunch of values that people can deposit for their HEX. It's not very hard to do. It's actually pretty
a lot
easy
of stuff
to do.
that's happening on, like around ETH, like the dexes that like there are people building dexes for like McAfee has a dex. Like
We're on that.
there's a lot of stuff
HEX is
going on in
there.
crypto. Like influencers, like I really hope they don't catch on. I hope they don't start building anything. But yeah, just let me keep on building and going and getting ahead. But you guys, man, if you don't start building something, man, you guys gonna be like, damn, all I did was do YouTube videos.
Yeah, here's what's funny, right? Everyone that talks trash,
None of them have anything going on.
is a useless piece of crap. They spend their time screaming and yelling while the people that don't have time for that shit are actually building.
Right.
So, you know why you don't hear devs screaming and yelling on Twitter? Because they're goddamn busy building.
Yeah.
They're building. They don't have time to hear about how stupid they are from you. They're already working on the next thing because they published the last thing. So people that sit around and yell as a hobby, they destroy their own lives by ruining whatever productivity they could have had. I see so many smart people, really smart people, spending their time attacking other people, and it never even works. Everyone hates CSW, top 5 crypto. What? Huh? Well, how'd that work out, guys? How'd the yelling work out? I yelled smart. I yelled in a way where you wouldn't know what to Google to fall into the trap. So if you're already in a trap, I'll talk anonymously in a way that you know I'm talking about that guy. But I'm not going to introduce new guys to the scam by name dropping a dude, right?
Oh, yeah.
I won't even say his name. I use some abbreviated letters here that people could probably Google what this was.
I don't know who the hell you're talking about.
Yeah. So it's like that yelling doesn't work. The only thing, if you don't like scams, you got to build something better that occupies the minds and the eyes of those people that were going to be victimized by the scammer. You got to outcompete them for resources. Nothing else works. This is how you beat scams, is with good marketing and honest businesses and honest sales and tactics that reaches and touches these people in the same way that scammers were gonna. And then when a scammer comes along, there's nothing for him to eat. He has to starve off. So yelling at people to be smarter and not get scammed, it don't work. By the way, we were talking about scams earlier. Another one is people pretend to trade your money and make you all this money, and then you send them your money, and then they just take it all.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get reloaded into a site that pretends to get your money back from those guys, and they get whatever's left.
Yeah, I've seen those too. Man.
Damn.
Cutthroat.
You going
that's a scam.
Like, I noticed because people tell me that, you know, they've seen these things, and I'm like, geez, that's crazy. And you hear the money that they lose, and you're talking millions, and you're like, damn, like, that's tragic, man. It's tragic to see somebody lose millions of dollars to a straight up scam.
Yeah.
So I like what you did. Another thing, I should tell you this. I tell people that HEX helps kill scams because we take people that might have promoted a scam, and due to the good design of the HEX system, instead they'll promote HEX, and then they got less time to do silly shit. And sometimes I use you as an example of that. Now, I don't know what you do with your time. I don't know if you promote anything that I might not like. But I know that you got less time to do that because you promote stuff that I do like. I think it works.
I never outright promote anything that I think is a scam. You know, I might promote some failed projects, you know, but I never, you know, I don't get it. I don't promote things that I don't get in for myself. You know, I try and win the things that I get in for myself. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I was, you know, doing that with Bitconnect. I've always done that. And that's how I win, is I take the risk and I play the games, and I lose a lot. But when
Stop losing. Stake it till you make it, man.
But
you don't got to do any of
win,
this shit anymore. You got HEX, man. You don't, I mean, look.
Yeah, but I got to trust you, though.
You ain't got to trust me.
I mean,
why you got to trust me? You make more HEX videos than I do.
I don't have to trust you, but I mean,
you're doing more work than me. Why you got to trust me?
I mean, I wouldn't even call that work, man. I'm having fun. I have fun with HEX because it's such a small, you know, coin. Like, you can have so many of them.
Yes, sir.
That's what makes it fun. And that's why I like to, I use the crypto, man. So I keep myself out of a lot of trouble by not speculating. I only hold coins that I use. You know,
nice.
Tron. I hold ETH because I need it. HEX.
Right.
What else? That's about it. I don't really hold too many coins, man. Bitcoin, because I have to.
Yeah. I've enjoyed this talk. Is there anything? I mean, we could look at a chat as usually cancer, but we could look
Yeah,
and see if they got anything.
I'm already past my time, but I could,
All
we
right.
can see.
Well, then we'll just skip down and we'll make sure between us that we got it right. So hex.win. Now you got a referral link for Hex. What's your referral link?
Etherhex.win.
EtherHex.
Yeah.
All right.
.win.
All right. That's his referral link. If you click that, you're going to get 10% more Hex. If you free claim Bitcoin after clicking his link, you can get 10% more. If you transform Ethereum into Hex after clicking his link, you're going to get 10% more.
Yeah, so don't miss out on 10%. Use etherhex.win.
There you go. And then if you want to check out this new thing he built, which is innovative, like I still tell people not to play games, but if you want to play a game, he built an innovative one.
It's not a game. You're going to get way, 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 way more Hex doing it this way. Tewkenaire.com.
Right. And then the name of it's HEXtew, TEW, right?
Yeah. It's
right.
Just click HEXtew in the banner.
And then we're both bullish, I guess, on price.
Yeah, I'm fairly bullish. I mean, I'm a little bit worried that we might take a halving off just because it's never happened before. But
I know what you mean, like win two, lose one kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying there.
But I doubt it. Since this run up, I'm doubting it now.
I doubt it. Yeah, I think we're good. I mean, look, we're going into halvening with price this low. That's better, not worse. That's better. People say, oh, it's bad. No, like lower price means better entry. If you got good technology.
Some people are saying 7K is still high. That's what some people are saying.
I don't know, man.
In some telegrams.
Yeah, most of those people are wrecked. So taking advice from wrecked people, it's like,
Oh, no, I never take advice, man. I do what I want to do.
So we got Hex, we got Tewkenaire, we got HEXtew, we got price.
My YouTube and my Twitter.
Do it. Tell them.
Just Google me. Bitcoin Trey on Twitter and Trevon James on YouTube.
You got 2 YouTube channels. I think you're DAP Treyvon.
Oh, yeah, DAP Trevon. DAP, DAPP Trevon.
Yeah. And then if you want to... I've only seen 1 or 2 Hex videos on there. Really? I knew I'd have to set you straight on no expectations. One time you said that you thought Hex was going to be its own chain. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Why? Why would you want to break interoperability with all this other awesome shit that Hex is interacting with, like Uniswap? We got Uniswap.
Everybody else is doing it.
We got Uniswap on ETH, and fucking Hex.
What if he fails?
Well, then you could do all that shit. You could airdrop the system state to a new system if you have to, but don't preemptively break compatibility with all this awesome shit. Like,
you don't have to necessarily. We're gonna start a whole other conversation. You don't have to necessarily break it though. Like you could just keep the same, just like Tron did.
I understand what you're saying. I know what you're talking about. Look, if one day throughput ain't there or there's some other problem, then you could find social consensus to airdrop system state to another network. But if you don't need to do that, I love the interoperability. I love the decentralization. I love the most developers. I love the smartest developers. I love the ecosystem as it is. And I think if you try and like act hard and be like, oh, we're doing it our own way, you're going to get fucked up because you're going to have 100x less developers and 100x less things to interact with. And like it's just staying on one chain is awesome if you can do it.
Yeah, I never looked at it like that. That's very interesting.
Think about all the things that Hex uses. Like right now, if you want to use a stable coin with Hex,
you have a bunch of tools just by sticking with ETH. Like that's basically what you're saying. You have a whole bunch of people that are already building on ETH. I get exactly what you're saying. And
when those guys make those breakthroughs, like those ZK rollup breakthroughs, they're coming there first. They're already running. So there's no better ecosystem in my opinion. Now look, maybe one day there might be, but that would be 6 to 10 years away. To get the same amount of goodwill, training, auditors, like that shit takes forever to build, man. Like it would take a very long time for something to displace ETH. A very long time. I think the only reason that the TRX has been able to do what it did is because they attacked like a different market, the Asian market, basically. So they got big in Asia. I think in the West, there's not as much in that ecosystem, right? So they kind of had geography advantage a little bit.
I mean, I don't know what you're speaking as far as development or users.
Well, users pretty much.
It's a lot of users on Tron, man.
They're not mostly Asian.
You already say you don't know much about Tron.
I don't know much about it.
Sleeping on Tron, man.
Maybe.
You
could be.
Should look into it, bro. Like it's
hear
flat
you.
Earth. You should look into it.
Yeah, go
to DAP.review and look at some of the stats, man. You ever did that?
I did, and it's mostly EOS and TRX guys up top there. But they're also low volume as fuck from what I see. Like when you look at those DAP stats, they rank them by like users, but then you also got to look at the volume.
I sort mine by volume.
Right. Yeah.
And I sort mine by volume, and Wink on Tron is always number one, and then 888 on Tron is always close, and then it may be like a few ETH exchanges or EOS exchanges.
You know what the number one on ETH is?
Exchange. What?
But non-exchange. If you go to DAP Radar, you click the ETH tab. Number 1 and 2 are like games, and number 3 is HEX by users. And then if you look at volume, the games have like $500 volume, and HEX has like 40K volume. So HEX is the number 1 financial app on ETH for 6 fucking weeks, and it was number 1 for a while. And it's still number 1 if you look at volume.
Yeah, it's Dice and
we gotta click the ETH tab.
Exchanges. Yeah, I'm on there.
Yeah,
but I'll do all and go by volume.
Dude, on EtherSwap,
on EOS.
On EtherSwap, we're like top 15 for liquidity, and on
I saw that.
And the volume too. Volume's top 15 too. I think it did 45K of volume today, and it's just going up. I mean, I think the volume's up like 50% today, and I think the liquidity's up like 25% or something. It's going up.
The first DApp on ETH is MakerDAO at number 2.
Yeah, they got millions of liquidity.
Yeah.
It's different. They've been at it longer, and it's a different business model.
Oh yeah.
So I'm excited to see. Like I just seen today a chart of how many coins are staked in different coins, and I didn't get a chance to do the math, but we might already be on that chart. Because if you think like right now, we might already be on that chart. I got to do the math, but at some point, I think can't give you expectations. I'm excited to see where HEX goes.
Pump that shit, man. Take that ETH and pump that shit. Shut up. You know you gonna pump.
Oh my lord. My lord.
All right,
Trey, man, it was good talking to you, bro.
All right,
so you guys know how to reach him. Check out his stuff. Me, Richard Hart Win on Twitter, Richard Hart on YouTube. If you're on Telegram, HEX runs Telegram. We got about 20,000 people in HEX Crypto, t.me/HEX Crypto. HEX Memes, HEX News, HEX Trading, HEX Charts, HEX AA, HEX Claims, HEX OTC. I'm not going to tell you the HEX Dev Chat. You can private message me if you're a dev. If you want to donate to charity, go to sens.org. They accept crypto. The life you save might be your own. If you want 2 free books, I wrote 2 books. They're in outline form. You'll get what you need out of them. They're amazing. If you met me in person, it wouldn't be even a 10% as good as reading the books, because there's stuff in the books I forgot I knew, and it's awesome stuff. Go to t.me/scivive, like survive through science, SCIVIVE. And then, charity. I guess we've got general crypto chat, Strape, general crypto trading, Strape charts, price calls, t.me/Richard's calls. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, check out my Patreon. Patreon.com/Trevon James. Hey, I've been on fire with my calls.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. So check out my Patreon too.
Everyone's a genius in the bull market.
Come on, man. Don't do me like that, man.
Yo, it's good. It's better. Some stupid people still short a bull market. So,
I'm
be on the right side.
Bull market trader, man. I learned that.
All right. Good talking to you, man. Ciao, brother.
All right, man. Peace.